Friday, September 5th, over the international break. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Chris Owen. We're going to look at the Premier League table. We're going to discuss some futures, try and figure out what's going to happen. We've got 3 games for every team, so we're going to try and predict what's going to happen here. Maybe look at the top of the table, maybe look at the bottom of the table, maybe some goal scorers and that kind of thing. I think Chris wants to talk a little bit of Isak after his transfer. We're 4 days removed from the transfer window right here. But Chris, finally Friday. Happy Friday. Here we go.
Same to you, Adam. It is a glorious Friday afternoon. We got beers and wagers today. So talking futures, as you noted. I got a tall boy Rainier, essentially the Seattle's version of like a Miller High Life, a domestic, very volume drinking beer. Happens to be our day this weekend, which is Rainier Day, and they do some shows and stuff like that. So it's this is also pretty much
our day
in my fridge. So
our day or our day?
Our day. Okay. R like the letter. Like
is that celebrating the League's Cup win?
If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the R for Rainier. Formerly was probably started out here, and now some big conglomerate owns it, but also still very popular. If you're going to a local bar and you don't know what you want, you just grab a little Rainier, and it's pretty cheap. So
clearly we got a laid back Friday going on. I'm sticking with the theme. The last time I went with an East Coast beer, and we're back in celebration of Chris's wedding on the East Coast. We have a Sea Dog Brewing Company. We got the Blueberry Wheat Ale over here.
Ooh, that's like a late summer beer right there.
Based out of Portland, Maine. Yep, based out of Portland, Maine. Nice and refreshing little beer to get started on a Friday.
That is the perfect Friday beer right there. The Blueberry Wheat. Ooh, I wish I had one of those.
Yeah, you're gonna have to request that at your wedding or something. I think you could probably get it.
I'm gonna go searching for some beers while I'm there. So hopefully. Wish I was driving. Well, I don't wish I was driving, but I wish I could bring a lot of those beers back. But alas,
yeah, you could find a way. But rotowire.com/soccer. We got a bunch of articles out this week, a bunch of videos as well. Make sure to subscribe, give a thumbs up on this video. YouTube.com/@rotowiresoccer. We got articles on transfers. We got articles about the last game week. We got some rankings up as usual. Let's look at the table though. We kind of want to start where we're looking at the table. And we want to see where teams stand after 3 weeks. It's still pretty early here, Chris, because, we got Sunderland 6th place right now. They got 2 wins. Came back late against Brentford in game week 3. But most importantly for Chris, we got Liverpool. Liverpool in first with 9 points. And where should we start? Liverpool are plus 140 to win the Premier League. Are you willing to take plus 140 on Liverpool to win the Premier League right now?
I am not, because I got them at plus 225 in June, so I'm not doubling down on worse odds. But I also feel like I would, even if I didn't have that plus 225, I also don't feel like it would be the time to take it. You want to 3 of 3, 9 points on the table, 9 points in the table, beat Newcastle away, beat Arsenal at home. Couple tough matchups. The odds aren't going to do you any favors there. I think you try to wait and see if it stays a little tighter, and then grab them if they drop points in 1 or 2 games. Perhaps still early in the season between I think they'll have Man City and Real Madrid around the same time later this season. And if it remains tight, then I think you might see that those odds go up a little bit. But I think I would hold off on plus 140 myself. What about you?
Yeah, I haven't seen enough from the defense. I wouldn't take the plus 140. Arsenal are plus 185, Chelsea plus 750. I don't think either one of us would want to take Man City here at plus 650, given how they've looked right now. I think that's the odds are just, every second half of the season, Manchester City, they seem to find a way and make a run, but I don't know. Has the game passed by Pep a little bit here? It just
I won't go that far. As the game passed by, maybe they a couple odd results for them for sure.
They got Rodri back. He played 90. This team just, for last season as well, they just don't look the same as they looked when they won all those titles in a row. So
they definitely have had a fair bit of roster churn too. I feel like they brought in some nice players to start. I think But yeah, Rodri obviously ramping up from a major knee injury is tough too. We see it in every single sport. It's not like, the coming back. He has kind of been around like healthy again for the past few months, so that helps. But like, you're not going to see a player's best efforts or best performances on the pitch until probably like we think a year, but it's probably closer to like a year and a half, 2 years when you really start to see them like become themselves once again. So not surprising there, but yeah, like I mean, they still have major question marks at outside back. Like they're doing the kind of like a platoon, if you will. Is it at right back with Eight Nuri and
No,
is that left back?
Nunez and Rico Lewis is right
Yeah.
back, and then Aitnery / Vardiel whenever he's healthy at left back.
Yeah. So yeah, at right back is like where it's still like it's not really ironed out. They didn't really they like defensively. There's some major question marks for like what they're trotting out there. I think so. That's a little bit weird. Foden is kind of I think from 2 seasons ago really dropped off. Holland still looks great. I think some of their signings have been good, but yeah, they're just kind of struggling. They started the season out as plus 300 and now to go down to plus 650. If you are like a maybe you're a City supporter and you think like
Take
it's
it.
just a blip, then go smash that plus 650. But I'm a little bit in question of how they're going to turn it around.
I probably just based off the first 3 games, I think I kind of like art. I don't know. I can't remember what their odds used to be, but plus 185 to win it. I just think overall, like the depth of Arsenal, if injuries come into play here, throw in Champions League as well. Like we saw what Konate went off early last game for Liverpool. This defense has already been struggling a little bit. Like Joe Gomez came on for him. Like that's the Liverpool depth. They didn't get Gahey. They didn't get the guy they wanted that they thought they were going to get. Meanwhile, Arsenal are just adding pieces on their back line. Man City lost to Kanji because he didn't want to compete with 6 other guys for playing time, kind of a thing. All these came to Arsenal. They knew the situation, and Saka gets hurt. Other guys get hurt. It's like, okay, yeah, Havertz is coming back from his injury, but okay, we'll throw in Eze, we'll throw in Madueke,
Yeah.
we'll throw in whoever really. Just a deep across the board. No matter if injuries come into play, I think it's going to be. I think their depth is the reason why I bet on Arsenal. Because they're a little better odds than Liverpool, and also I think overall just maybe a better team. I know what we've seen them play these games, and it's still like Arteta's Arsenal, and that's hard to bet on. But maybe that'll change at some point once Eze gets into the squad and kind of thing. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like they added essentially 3 starters in Eze, Zubamendi, and Gyökeres. Like three people who are made their team immediately, their starting 11 immediately better. And then on top of that, they added, Mascara, who looked great against Arsenal. He came on for
Liverpool.
Was it Saliba? Hincapi they got done, the guy from Leverkusen, the center back. So they're like 4 or 5 deep with like really quality center backs. And then, they just added some other depth there too that helps. I still think, Saka's inability to stay fit could play a huge role in how like what this looks like for them because he's far and away their best player. But like Eze is such a nice addition. Bummed he went there, but then out left you still have a really good battle between Trossard and Martinelli, and each one brings a little bit of a different approach.
I think Eze will play off the left actually.
You think so? And then just have Odegaard just slide in through the middle.
Yeah.
I think there's some good fluidity there though. Like you could go Eze could go either one.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Odegaard's not healthy kind of a thing. I know they've been playing Nwaneri a little bit. I think he started over Odegaard, or I guess Mikel Merino technically started over Odegaard in that last game. But yeah, I think he came on for Martinelli in that Liverpool match and just looked better in whatever his 20 minutes of play there. We'll see what I don't know. Trossard, I don't know if he's going to have a role. I thought he was going to be gone in the window, but he's still there to, give him minutes. So
I still think Trossard is a better player than Martinelli. Like in this Arsenal team, that might be too strong of a take, but like Martinelli's never really done it for me. I think he's good, but I just don't like Trossard. Just like fits a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, Martinelli's had the role. Trossard has been more of a backup always. It's It depends what you like, really.
Yeah, totally.
Martinelli has never really been enough for what Arsenal need, I think. Anything
Yeah.
else you like at the top of the table, though, right now?
Um,
Chelsea, we haven't really talked about Chelsea. Tottenham had a decent start till that home loss against Bournemouth. Chelsea, their odds to win it are, what are they? It's plus 750. Chelsea are plus 250 to finish top two. Like, do you believe in Chelsea to
yeah.
finish above Liverpool or Chelsea or Liverpool or Arsenal?
Yeah, no, like good segue from the winner. Like I think there are winners a 3-horse race, like we've kind of talked about. Chelsea started out 850. They're down to 800. They've looked okay. Like they're intriguing. I think João Pedro is really one that I'd like to talk about for the goal scorers, and has given them a bit more of like a cutting edge in front of net. Bummer about Liam Delap probably being out for like at least 2 months. It sounds like with a hamstring. I think that actually might bode better for João Pedro. And although they were kind of playing like the nine with like João Pedro kind of sitting in, I guess. So I'm serious. I'm interested to see how that plays out. But to finish top two, they started out the season as plus 300. They're down to plus 240. So that kind of could be a fun little one, and I think you get good value there. So that would be like, we'd have to see something interesting happen between the three teams we already talked about. But I think that gives you a little bit of a warrant for consideration.
Yeah, Chelsea's are kind of in the spot of maybe not good enough for one of these top teams, but better than the bottom, the teams below them, kind of a thing. So they're kind of in that spot where most of the odds don't really make sense. Like they're minus 250 to finish top four. I did want to look at. I wrote down Newcastle plus 450 to finish top four. Um, I kind of like that one. If we're just looking at the odds here, behind the top four with Chelsea, and then Tottenham are plus 350, Man United are plus 350, Newcastle are plus 450. We know what kind of start they've had: 2 draws, 1 loss. The Isak ordeal, but they've had a difficult start to the season. And they've at least added players. I think they're already a solid team. They didn't really add to the midfield too much. They added some depth on their back line. Playing Champions League might be a bigger factor, but I think that they just have, I talked about depth with Arsenal, but I think, they got Wissa, they got Voltamade in the attack, just 2 guys to basically replace Isak / Callum Wilson. And maybe it's not going to be to the same level as Isak, but you have guys there. And, top 4, you're getting plus 450 on them. I'm not 100% sold on Chelsea being better than Newcastle, or at this point, I'm not sure, Man City better than Newcastle as well. So if we're getting plus 450, top 400 or top 4 for Newcastle, I kind of like that one, despite the slow start they've had.
Yeah, they could definitely. Eddie Howe is just such a good manager that I think he'll add a couple players in. You give him kind of well timed with the international break. So I don't know if each of the new players that they added is going out on international duty or not, but give them a week or two to kind of like get them going in training, and we should see kind of a different team. It's also tough when you trot out like you're missing Anthony Gordon, missing Isak, missing some other guys. They're pretty banged up. So I feel like they went out and spent the Isak money a little ahead of that deal getting done and got enough guys to potentially be better than they were. Yeah, you mentioned started out plus 190 and now it's plus 430. I think I saw on FanDuel. Like
I got plus 450 at DraftKings.
There you go. So yeah, definitely I like that to finish top 4. I think Chelsea drops some matches. We don't see United really kick things off. It could definitely happen, and Eddie Howe's definitely we've already seen it. Good enough manager to make it happen.
Yeah, you like anything else at the top of the table?
There was, I think the most I like that Chelsea to finish top 2 plus 240. You touched on the Newcastle plus 430. We did have a pretty big discussion initially about our Forest in our first futures bet. We were like looking at Forest top 6 was plus 800, top 10, which I think that was really the one that I liked. A month ago, that was plus 130. I got to double check and see what it is now, but I guess they are currently plus 145. So gone up a touch, but I still kind of like Forest to finish top half of the table.
Yeah, I don't even see bottom half odds, so I can't comment on that. But they were, I think I took Forest plus 950 to be relegated. Now they're plus 1100 at DraftKings, is what I'm seeing. When we had our futures show, it wasn't the week before. I don't know when. Maybe it was 2 weeks before the season started. They
August
basically
8th.
added like 10 more guys since we had that show. When I was like, yeah, relegated. They haven't added anyone. They haven't been very good. Then Nuno got in a fight with the owners, and
Marinakis, yeah.
yeah, I wasn't even with him. It was like the CEO or something. And last I saw this week, it was like Omari Hutchinson, one of their most expensive players. He's not even on their squad list for Europa League. Obviously, a guy that Nuno didn't want, and they added him. I think that was part of the problem. So just like some weird things going on there, where okay, let's just add all these pieces, even though our manager doesn't want them. They added so many pieces. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to be relegated plus 1100. But I still don't think they're going to finish top 10, is what I'll say. I did have Everton's odds haven't changed much, but finished top half Everton plus 100. I still like that. They lost that first match. I like the additions that Everton have made in the window as well. Outside of not adding a real right back, they've pretty much, bulked up a lot of areas in the squad. And Jack Grealish has already been good.
Dibbling is
Dewsbury
coming
Hall.
in. Yep.
Yeah, Dibbling, just another option off the bench instead of older Dwight McNeil kind of a thing. So I like what they've done in the window, and it's resulted in some good performances, and we've seen them play at home. I think it's going to be a pain for anyone going to Hill Dickinson Stadium this season. Because they've only had one league game there, and it's been a win. So I think it's going to be tough for everyone going there this season.
I'm consider me like minus 400 to call it Goodison Park instead of Hill Dickinson. I will absolutely mess that up at some point during the season. So put me down for that. But no, Jack Grealish currently leading the league in assists with 4 assists, plus 450 odds to lead the Premier League in assists. That would be crazy. But also,
interesting.
You'd need a lot more a lot more offensive production,
a lot more Everton goals
than we've seen in years past. So
we're getting a comment here from the economic prepper here. He's saying Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea 1, 2, 3, and then maybe City 4th. But Nottingham Forest is a sleeper for top 4. I don't know, man. I don't know if I see it. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think Chris likes Nottingham Forest, but
I'm enamored by their club. I don't know if I'm going to if plus 2,200 there to finish top 4. They don't have the quality. I mean, last year was like kind of a, I don't know if that was an enigma, but an outlier, I guess, if you will. And they still couldn't get top 4. It was the best they could have ever expected, I feel like. So I think it'll be tough. Also, they're competing in Europe. Like we can never overstate how taxing that is on a team to be playing big games against big teams and then go back into the league and have to face like Liverpool at home or head to City or like even, face Everton at Hill Dickinson. That's hard to do for teams. So I think it's tough for me to go like plus 2,200, but I do love the top half. I still like the top half bet. So.
All right. Bottom of the table here. Your favorite bet. Wolverhampton is now minus 115 to be relegated. How are you feeling?
That's interesting because what do we get them at to finish last to start the season? They were plus 1,200
to finish last. Yeah.
To get relegated, I gotta double check what we had to start the season. I don't have it here in my notes, but finish last. Can we reconsider it?
Yeah. They added Tolu. They added Krejci, another center back, but I mean, did they add enough? I don't think so. Is Tolu? He came from, I want to say, Genk in the Belgian league. Just a tall dude. I think he's like 6'6", so they're just another tall striker that they have. But like, is he going to change their fortunes? I mean, they've had a difficult schedule to start, so you can they're 3 losses. They've had a difficult schedule, but I wouldn't say they've looked great in their games. Again, this is still, we're talking about, okay, they lost Cunha, but they also lost Aitnery and they lost Semedo. Like they lost two key players that started almost every match for them on the wing. Just some big pieces missing from them, and I'm not sure they replace them with enough Premier League quality, is what I'll say. I kind of like looking at the relegation ones. West Ham. Oh man, I wrote this down. Okay, yeah, plus 250 to be relegated. West Ham. They had that win just before the break, but I'm not going to put too much into it. Okay, a win at Nottingham Forest was scoreless, and they got 3 goals late. But I think like plus 250. This team, I'm not there with this team. They added a couple players late in the deadline. Defensive midfielder, Mateus Fernandes, coming over from Southampton. Is that going to be your answer? Is that your Kudus replacement? They still don't really have a Kudus replacement, but I still have some doubts on West Ham overall. What do you think about plus 250 to be relegated?
Ooh, that'd be tough for Mr. Potter if they got relegated, right? So
Economic Prepper is back out here with some takes. Villa, Wolves, and Leeds to be relegated, but don't count out Everton. We're on different sides here.
Yeah, I was gonna mention Leeds for I don't know what their bottom half. I can't find their bottom half odds right now. But Aston Villa. But if we want to consider a team that might be, I don't know what kind of value we would get on Aston Villa in the bottom half, but might be something to consider. I mean, it's
probably like minus 120.
They're handicapped, and I mean they added Harvey Elliott, they added a couple at the deadline, they added Sancho at the deadline, so helps in attack. They haven't scored a goal yet. Are they the only team who hasn't scored in three matches? I think.
Yeah, it's been miserable for them.
And it's been tough. Ollie Watkins, is he a bum? I don't know. But I actually I don't know about relegated, that Unai Emery feels too good of a manager. They have too many quality of players for that to happen. But I definitely like a bottom half. If you can get around you said minus 120, but around even odds would be something I like, especially as they are competing in Europe too.
Yeah, I think Harvey Elliott's going to be awesome for him. Asensio and Rashford came into their team, played a bunch last season. I think Elliott's gonna basically be an every game starter while healthy. Can't say the same about Sancho, but I think he's gonna add a bunch. They just didn't really have it was Rodgers and Watkins. They needed just a guy to do something, especially on the wing or whatever. I think Elliott can do a few things in addition to taking set pieces for him. So. I think that everyone else in their team is pretty similar. They lost a couple defensive midfielders to injury already in this season, which obviously doesn't help in Kamara and Onana. But it's hard to take them to be relegated. This is still the same team that finished 7th last season, and maybe not the same team as 2 seasons ago because obviously they lost Douglas Luiz. Sorry, they finished 6th last season, but still, this has still been a good team. And I think eventually Unai is going to figure things out.
Yeah, I think so too. They have too much quality, but put me down for a bottom half.
All right, where else do we want to go? What else are we talking about?
I'm trying to find. We got to do the manager next to leave post is what it's called on Odds Checker, but I think that's an interesting one. We had, let's see. I just had it pulled up. I think the best odds right now got to be Nuno or Amorim.
Yep, Nuno, Amorim, Potter, Pereira, Farka, and then just keeps going down. Andrews, Glasner, Unai Emery is down there as well.
I guess I gotta look so let's see what we got in game week 4 because it could be as early as game week 4.
I don't know. You think right away?
Amorim comes out and you get beaten maybe.
I think that's
a lot of goals.
I don't know. I think that's a stretch. I know it's happened where a team that
it's the Manchester Derby. What if City comes out and they win 5-0 and they have 3 points from 4 games and they just lost their crosstown rivals? I don't know.
And then 2 weeks away from you? I guess maybe United doesn't have UEFA play, so never mind there. But I guess if they lose 5-0 or something, I still wouldn't take that. I don't think they're going to lose that like that either. But Who knows?
The good thing about these bets are there. It's not to you know it's not after game week 4. It's when they are going to get when they're going to get who's the next closest to get relegated here. So if it's not 4, maybe it's week 5. So let's say United have Chelsea in the game week 5 again. If they don't get any points from the next 2, then does that change? I say Nuno has got Burnley and what does he have? Burnley and Arsenal. So Arsenal, you got to believe he'll be fine there, unless it's like a very personal matter where he's just pissed for being at the club and relationships are no longer tenable. But yeah, and Graham Potter, Spurs and
Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking at right there.
I like Potter more than anything.
You're looking at almost roughly plus 400 for Graham Potter to be sacked next. And okay, home against Spurs, definitely could be a loss. Home against Crystal Palace, that could be a 1-0 loss for all we know. Crystal Palace defense has been really good. And then they're at Everton, and then they're at Arsenal. Like, really, that could be 4 losses right there and okay, let's say they get a draw against Crystal Palace, 1 point in the next 4 matches. I think that goes into the next international break there. So if West Ham are sitting on 4 points through 7 matches, I think Graham Potter plus 400 will be looking pretty good right there. Granted, I'm just giving losses out for home games against Spurs and Crystal Palace, but I think they're one of the worst teams in the league. So
I think so. I think roster-wise, I agree with you. So I think we have our top 3 there, right? But one more to consider, Daniel Farke at Leeds. I do think that the promoted teams have a little bit more of a leash than these teams, than Amorim, who spent a boatload of money and just is a little bit more established. But that said, they have some, what are they at on for points currently?
They got that opening win against Everton, so they're mid-table. But they're at Fulham, at Wolves, home against Bournemouth, home against Tottenham.
And then international break mid-October?
Yeah, that's right. I think it's between 7 and 8.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that, he's at, 14-1 plus 700? Plus 1,400?
It depends where you're looking. I'm seeing 8-1, 12-1, 14-1, so it's all over the place.
Yeah. That could be one to consider. But yeah, I think it'd be weird for Nuno to leave Forest, given he did so well last season.
I think it's a situation where he just hates the.
Yeah, he's like, I'm all set. I'm working with you.
That's why he's the favorite. I think. I mean, that's really the only reason why it's like that, because he basically comes out every press conference. He's like, I don't know, we need players. I didn't want this guy, and he's just like pissed at everyone, which is kind of how his time ended at Wolverhampton a long time ago. I think. Maybe I'm getting confused with someone, but
we've also seen this happen. Like, managers maybe shouldn't be in charge of getting players, they should have a say. But, like Klopp at Liverpool, when they didn't, the whatever, the head of recruitment or whatever would go out and get players and say yes or no. But when managers are pushing for certain players, it kind of goes at odds and doesn't always work out as well as it should. So I don't know what the situation there is, but yeah, I think if I had to go with one, I would go with I think Graham Potter.
What are you stealing my takes?
No, we do takes together. This is a tandem.
Okay, got it.
Sorry. All right, if you want me to take a different one, I'm taking Daniel Farke.
Who is your golden boot pick here?
I think we got to consider Alexander Isak.
Okay.
I think we have to. Holland's got a 3-game lead. You're never going to get better odds than probably right now. Plus 700. I don't know what it was to start the season. I think I wrote him down. He was plus 600 to start the season. And that was for Newcastle. And that was when he obviously wasn't playing, didn't know what was going to happen. Somehow the odds got worse. He's currently, I have plus 850 on FanDuel.
Okay.
to win the
700
Golden
I'm
Boot.
tracking.
He's 2 goals behind Haaland. I think he'll probably come on as a sub
3.
when is he 3? Haaland's got 3.
Yeah.
That's 1 game for Alexander Isak in Liverpool. But no, that's the one that is most intriguing. Also, I said this, I think maybe not the most intriguing. I love a João Pedro plus 1100 Golden
Okay.
Boot bet. That is the one that I'm like, that could be fun. Obviously,
Maybe.
Holland's the clear favorite here, but he's minus 130, so I'm not going to talk about him.
Yeah,
I'm not interested in taking that.
With João Pedro, he's just never been healthy for an entire season, and then you're throwing Champions League in. So that's one thing I'd worry about there. But I got a couple of things back off that. I got Isak under 16.5 goals at minus 110. So, what are Isak's minutes going to look like here? I guess that's my question. So he comes in. Liverpool have been playing well. Ekitike up top, Gakpo out left. He's not going to be starting every match in league play and Champions League, right? I know he has a lot of money.
I think we'll see more of Ekitike in the knockouts, in the group play of Champions League. But I expect to see Alexander Isak starting every single Premier League game. Yes, okay. Unless there's an injury issue, which definitely can be. There's a good chance of it, but I would expect to see Ekitike more and then a little bit of rotation there.
Yeah, I just I've been doing my projections this week, and it's just hard to we look at the stats from Salah from these first 3 games, and you have to take away goals from Salah to give them to Isak is kind of what it comes down to, because Liverpool can only score so many goals. So is it going to be okay, is Salah going to score 12 goals to allow Isak to score more than 20, or that's kind of what we're looking at? Is that kind of what your line of thinking is?
No.
Or is Liverpool going to score 120 goals?
No, you threw some incredible shade at Joey Gomez to start the show here. And, while it felt like shade, I don't think it's untrue. I think they've got some major defensive problems, defensive depth problems. How it happened, how they do, I'm not sure how it's all going to work out, but I think they're going to have to fill it up this season. I'd expect a lot of multi-goal games. I don't they're going to have to attack a ton to stay in games, and also get hit on the counter quite a bit. So I do expect I don't think it's going to be what is that, 2011 Chelsea, or what year, 2007 Chelsea, when they led the league in goals in least goals conceded. I think it's a record, but I think we'll see a lot of multi-goal, both teams scoring BTTS. And the other thing about that you mentioned is they didn't for the second time this summer break the British transfer record for fees. They didn't do it twice this summer, not to play the guys who they just bought. I don't think you're going to see rotation with Isak. He's the most expensive player of all time. They're not going to let's bring him on for 30, that's not.
What do you think the ideal Liverpool 11 is? Is it with Gakpo on the bench?
No, it's Ekitike on the bench. I think Gakpo is. I think he's sneaky good. They let Luis Diaz go for a reason, and then gave Gakpo a new long-term contract weeks after. So their intentions are clear on getting him a lot of playing time. I think it's Gakpo on the left, Isak up front, Saul on the right, and then Verts, and then Ekitike as bring him on or as a rotational player.
Yeah, who does Ekitike come on for then?
Isak, or he comes out on the left for Gakpo. He's also a bit more fluid on I would be pissed if we put Isak out on the left. That would be stupid, but he does. I don't know.
Yeah, I would lean more Ekitike out on the left.
Yeah, totally. So I think you see Ekitike come on 65 minutes for Gakpo, and then Isak plays 90. Or that's the beauty of it. You could also, I think Verts has played on the left a little bit. I don't prefer that either, but you have some options. Ekitike's got to be, although he got put in a clamp by Mascara in Arsenal's defense in the last game. There was no service, but I don't know. He's looked pretty solid, but I think we'll see him a little bit more in the cups and in the Champions League, at least in the group stage.
Yeah, I think it's if you take Isak's goal per 90 from Newcastle and bring it to Liverpool, and like he's probably going to score. And if he's playing 2,500 minutes or whatever it is in league play, then I think he's probably scoring 20 plus goals. But I don't know. I still like. I guess the season can continue with Salah just not being as big of a factor as he was in prior seasons because they have these other guys, kind of a thing.
I, yeah, I think also you meant like Salah having a bit of a downturn in production
which is
would not
reasonable.
surprise me at all. Like he's not going to match last season, especially when you add the amount of players they have, and it's just hard to run that back. So I like if I was going to look at maybe I don't know what Salah's goals numbers are, but I wouldn't be surprised if I think it was like 20 to start the season, 20 and a half to start the season, or something like maybe a little bit below that. That's one I would look at. I don't know, but Isak feels like 16 and a half doesn't feel like that many goals. It is a lot of goals, but like we saw like somebody like Strand Larson score 14 last season in a Wolves side. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying for situations like that, that's your central striker. Like that's like your only route to offense. Whereas Liverpool, it's like, okay, we got Salah coming in from the right, we got Gakpo coming from the left, we got Wirtz coming in from the middle. Like all these guys can do instead of just like, okay, we're gonna ping the ball to our striker, like kind of what Newcastle did as well. Like our main idea in the attack is just get the ball to our number 9 and let him do whatever. But I don't think like that's how Liverpool play though. So that's kind of where like my line of thinking's coming in.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I would take in that line of thinking. I would take less on Salah. I would take the Isak, and then Ekatike. I think I started the season out at 14 and a half. I forgot what the odds are, but I bet it initially, and I think I would take the under on that maybe. At least
I took the under in our show actually.
Yeah, was it 14 and a half? I forget what it was.
It was 14 and a half. I ended up not betting it personally because I think it was after the Crystal Palace game. And I was like, I don't want to bet against this. So I didn't that was one of the ones I didn't actually bet.
I think I took the over. It was probably like around plus 120 or plus 100 something, I think. But yeah, so I don't feel very good about that one. But the other one I did take, I know we've spent a lot of time here on Liverpool, but Antoine Semenyo, I took 10 plus 10 plus goals in the league. It was plus 120, and he's got what 2 right now. Both scored in the Liverpool game and an assist. He looks pretty dynamic, I think.
Yeah, another good season for him. I didn't want to shout Gyökeres for Golden Boot plus 700 actually. He's right there behind Haaland, and I think if you look at it like between Haaland and Gyökeres, like okay, 2 goals to 3 goals right now, but plus 700. Haaland's plus 100. I think if you look at it, we'll find out who's actually on PKs between Saka and him when it comes down to it. But Saka's been injured. Is it the same situation that we've been talking about with Isak and Salah? Is it going to be the same situation where Saka, he's stealing, he's scoring goals himself? But I did kind of like that one. If you get Gyökeres on PKs and if he's starting the majority of league matches, again, we haven't had Havertz healthy, so we'll see what the numbers eventually look at. But I mean, you just look at the first few games here. He's already been at Manchester United, at Liverpool. There's been some difficult ones you kind of throw out already, so maybe that helps a little bit. But you just get some value when comparing to Haaland. And at this point, we're just like looking for ways to bet. To not bet Erling Haaland is kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, it's weird that we're so kind of down on what we've seen from Pep and City, but yet we're like, we're like, oh yeah, no, it's a Erling Haaland Golden Boot shoe-in. It feels a bit at odds, so I think we should maybe reconsider that. But we are looking for value. And Gyökeres and Isak, at least on DraftKings, both are plus 700. So that's, and then I saw better odds for Isak on FanDuel, but yeah, I did. I missed the game. Was it West Ham? They won 5-0. Leeds. And I watched him at, I guess at Liverpool, and then he played against United too. And I just was not impressed, but I didn't watch him against Leeds. So that's when he scored his 2 goals. So I don't know really the full scope of it all.
That was when he was amazing.
Exactly. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe he'll be great in this next game, and I'll change my mind.
You got anything else for this international break show here, Chris?
No, I love a futures recap to see how the odds have changed and how like it's been 3 short weeks and we have 35 weeks left here. I think it's always fun, and then how the values change, and deadline day helps teams quite a bit or hurts teams quite a bit too.
Yeah, we're going to do a 20-minute show, and then we just kept talking on each subject, and now we're at 40 minutes. So, if you're still here, if you're listening to this, subscribe, give a like to this video. And I've been scrolling through some of the things we have over on RotoWire, rotowire.com/soccer. But if you want a subscription to get full range of stats and cheat sheets, use the code YouTube15 to get 15% off on a subscription at RotoWire. But Chris, happy Friday. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. We'll see everyone next week. Coming out of the international break, we got game week 4.
Cheers, Adam.
Just a week
Thanks,
away.
man.